Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriye Nashtuprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhaktasya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhuti Naishtiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 10, the battle between the demigods and Vritrasura. Text number 29 onwards. Te swaprayasam vitatam niriksha haravabhakta atayuddha darpaha palayanaya jimukhe visrijya patim manaste dadhurutas saraha. The asuras, who were never devotees of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, lost their pride in fighting when they found all their endeavors futile. Leaving aside their leader even in the very beginning of the fight, they decided to flee because all their prowess had been taken away by the enemy. So the demigods and the demons, they were fighting. Demons were led by Vritrasura, demigod by Indra. Now, because of the mercy of the Lord and this present, and Indra had that thunderbolt, Vajra, made of the bones of the Dadichi Muni. And they were killing demons, and the demons started running away. They lost all their pride in fighting. They decided to flee. The demons decided to flee. They ran away. Vritro asura stan anugan manasvi pradhavata preksha babhash etat palaitam preksha balam jabhagnam ayena tivrena vihasya viraha. Seeing his army broken and all the asuras, even those known as great heroes, fleeing the battlefield out of intense fear, Vritrasura, who was truly a great-minded hero, smiled and spoke the following words. Kalopapannam ruchiram manasvinam jagad vacham purush praviraha he viprachitte namuche puloman mayarnavan chamba Mayanarvachambar me shrinu. According to his position in the time and circumstances, Vritrasura, the hero among heroes, spoke words that were very much to be appreciated by thoughtful men. He called to the heroes of the demons, O Viprachitya, Namuchi, Puloma, Maya, Anarva, Shambar, please hear me and do not flee. Jatasim Mrityu Dhruv Eva Sarvata. Pratikriya yasya na chehe klapta loko yashaschat tato yadi hemam ko nama mrityum na vrinita yuktam. Vritrasura said, all living entities who have taken birth in this material world must die. Surely no one in this world has found any means to be saved from death. Even Providence has not provided a means to escape it. Under the circumstances, death being inevitable, if one can gain promotion to the higher planetary systems and be always celebrated here by dying a suitable death, what man will not accept such a glorious death? So death is inevitable. And now this is coming from Vritrasura, who's supposed to be Asura. But actually he is a great devotee. This we'll read later. So he is giving, pretty much, this is the message of Bhagavad Gita also. Arjun also wanted to run away. But Krishna said, no, fight. This is, if you die a glorious death, you'll go to heavenly planets. If you win, you'll enjoy the kingdom of earth. Purport. If by dying one can be elevated to the higher planetary systems and be ever famous after his death, who is so foolish that he will refuse such a glorious death? Similar advice was also given by Krishna to Arjuna. My dear Arjuna, the Lord said, do not desist from fighting. If you gain victory in the fight, you will enjoy a kingdom. And even if you die, you will be elevated to the heavenly planets. Everyone should be ready to die while performing glorious deeds. A glorious person is not meant to meet death like cats and dogs. दो सम्मतावे मृत्यु दुरापो यद ब्रह्म संधारणया जितासु कलेवरम योग रतो विजया यद ग्रणीर वीर शये अन्यवृत्तः. There are two ways to meet a glorious death, and both are very rare. One is to die after performing mystic yoga, especially bhakti yoga, by which one can control the mind and living force and die absorbed in the thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The second is to die on the battlefield, leading the army and never showing one's back. These two kinds of death are recommended in the Shastra as glorious. So he's basically chastising the demons. Why are you running away? Why are you afraid of death? So thus ends the 10th chapter, the battle between the demigods and Vritrasura. So we can start the 11th chapter, the transcendental qualities of Vritrasura. So many chapters are dedicated to Vritrasura. And later on, we'll see who was Vritrasura in his previous birth. It was Maharaj Chitraketu, actually. And many chapters are dedicated to Maharaj Chitraketu also. Shri Shukvacha Taivam Shansato Dharma Bacha Patir Patyur Chetasaha Nava Grananta Sambrantaha Palayan Paranarpa. Shri Shukdev Goswami said, O King Vritrasura, the commander-in-chief of the demons, advised his lieutenants in the principles of religion, but the cowardly demoniac commanders, intent upon fleeing the battlefield, were so disturbed by fear that they could not accept his words. Vishire manam pritnam surim surarishabha kalanukule stridasha kalya mana manatavat Drishtva tapyat samkruddha indra shatrur marshita tana nivaryo jasa rajan nirbharsedam uvacha. O King Parikshit, the demigods, taking advantage of a favorable opportunity presented by time, attacked the army of the demons from the rear and began driving away the demoniac soldiers, scattering them here and there as if their army had no leader. Seeing the pitiable condition of his soldiers, Vritrasura, the best of the Suras, who was called Indra Shatru, the enemy of Indra, was very much aggrieved. Unable to tolerate such reverses, he stopped and forcefully rebuked the demigods, speaking the following words in an angry mood. Kimva Ucharitair Matur Dhavad Bhi Prishtato Hata Nahi Bhitavata Shlagyo Na Swargya Shur Manina. O demigods, these demoniac soldiers have taken birth uselessly. Indeed, they have come from the bodies of their mothers exactly like stool. What's the benefit of killing such enemies from behind while they're running in fear? One who considers himself a hero should not kill an enemy who's afraid of losing his life. Such killing is never glorious, nor it can promote one to the heavenly planets. Vritrasura rebuked both the demigods and demoniac soldiers because the demons are running in fear of their lives and the demigods were killing them from behind. The actions of both were abominable. When a fight takes place, the opposing parties must be prepared to fight like heroes. A hero never runs from the field of battle. He always fights face to face, determined to gain victory or lay down his life in the fight. That is heroic. Killing an enemy from behind is also inglorious. When an enemy turns his back and runs in fear of his life, he should not be killed. This is the etiquette of military science. So, well, this is the etiquette, yes. But when you're fighting proper opponent, I guess, these days nobody follows this kind of etiquette. They just They just come and drop bombs everywhere, even in civilian areas, and whoever dies, and normally who dies in this bombing is old men, women, and children who cannot run away. And the victorious party thinks they have done an incredible job of killing so many people and of winning the countries or winning the battle. But they don't know what kind of punishment is waiting for them. So much punishment is waiting for them. And that is why actually in India, so many people came to, to, to fight and to win over, and so many were successful because they did not follow the rules of fighting properly. And Indian kings, because they were following the proper rules of dharma, they would not fight back if enemy was running away. They would not attack them. But the enemy, they were not following these rules. And they would attack whenever and wherever, howsoever. So, so I guess if you're fighting animals, and this is like animals fighting. If you're fighting animals, you forget dharma. You don't follow the dharma yourself. But those kings, they were so righteous. They were followers of dharma, the rules of fight. They would not attack somebody who was running away in fear or running away to save one's life. But anyway, that's why India lost so many battles. I mean, all these huge, big kings, they lost battles. Vritrasura insulted the demoniac soldiers by comparing them to the stool of their mothers. Both stool and a cowardly son come from the abdomen of the mother. And Vritrasura said there is no difference between them. A similar comparison was given by Tulsidas, who commented that his son and urine both come from the same channel. So actually he said, Mutra and Putra, Mutra and Putra, they both come from the same place. In other words, semen and urine both come from the genitals, but semen produces a child, whereas a urine produces nothing. Therefore, if a child is neither a hero nor a devotee, he is not a son, but urine. Similarly, Chanakya Pandit also says, what is the use of a son who is neither glorious nor devoted to the Lord? Such a son is like a blind eye which simply gives pain but cannot help one see. So it's not just having a son is great. A son has to be either glorious or be devoted to the Lord. Otherwise, I mean, these poets and Pandit, Chanakya Pandit, amazing things they say. Like Tulsidas said, Putra and Mutra, they come from the same place. What's the big deal? Having a Putra, if he's not glorious or if he's not devotee of the Lord. यदि वा प्रधने शुद्धा सारं वा शुल्काय हृदय अग्रे तिष्ठत मात्रम में नई चेद ग्रामे सुखे स्पृहा. Oh, insignificant demigods, if you truly have faith in your heroism, if you have patience in the course of your hearts, and if you're not ambitious for sense gratification, please stand before me for a moment. Rebuking the demigods with Vritrasura challenge. So demigods, if you're actually heroes, stand before me now and try to show your prowess. If you do not wish to fight, if you're afraid of losing your lives, I shall not kill you. For unlike you, I'm not so evil-minded as to kill persons who are neither heroic nor willing to fight. If you have faith in your heroism, please stand before me. So this is where he's telling demigods, you think you're a very big hero, very powerful, and you're attacking the soldiers who are running away? Show me your prowess. Let's see. Evam surgana ankruddho bhishyan vapusha ripun vyandata su mahaprano yena loka vichetasaha. Shukdev Goswami said, Vritrasura, the angry and most powerful hero, terrified the demigods with his stout and strongly built body. When he roared with a resounding voice, nearly all living entities fainted. Tena deva gana sarve vritra visfotanena ve nipetur murchita bhumo yathe vashanina kataha. When all the demigods heard Vritrasura's tumultuous roar, which resembled that of a lion, they fainted and fell to the ground as if struck by thunderbolts. Just imagine how powerful and how big and how strong this Vritrasura must be. When he roared, all the demigods fell to the ground. Mamard padbhyam sur sanyam akram nimilitaksham rana rang durmadaha kama kampyan Udyata Shula Ojasa, Nalam Vanan Yut Patir Yathon Madaha. As the demigods closed their eyes in fear, Vritrasura, taking up his trident and making the earth tremble with his great strength, trampled the demigods beneath his feet on the battlefield the way a mad elephant tramples hollow bamboos in the forest. He's trampling the demigods. Can we believe it? विलोक्य तम वज्र धरोति अमर्षितः स्वशत्रवे अभिद्रवते महागदाम चक्षेव तामा पततीम सुदुः सह जग्रह वामेन करेण लीलया. Seeing Vritrasura's disposition, Indra, the king of heaven, became intolerant and threw at him one of his great clubs, which are extremely difficult to counteract. However, as the club flew toward him, Vritrasura easily caught it. And with how? With his left hand. That is insulting, actually. Very, very insulting. Easily caught it with his left hand means he didn't even have to endeavor too much. And Indra threw one of his great clubs. Wow. So Indra Shatru Kupito Brisham Taya Mahendra Vaham Gadyor Uvikramaha Jaghan Kumbasthal Unnadan Mridhe Tat Karma Sarve Samapujyan Ripa. O King Parikshit, the powerful Vritrasura, the enemy of King Indra, angrily struck the head of Indra's elephant with that club, making a tumultuous sound on the battlefield. For this heroic deed, the soldiers on both sides glorified him. So he caught hold of the club and hit Airavat with that club. Airavato vritra gadavi mrishto vighurnito adri kulishahato yatha apasarad bhinnamukha sahindro munchan srik satas dhanur brishartaha saptadhanu. Wow. Struck with the club by Vritrasura like a mountain struck by a thunderbolt, the elephant Airavat, feeling great pain and spitting blood from his broken mouth, was pushed back 14 yards, Saptadhanu, 7 bows, or 14 yards. In great distress, the elephant fell with Indra on his back. So you can only imagine how powerful this Vritrasura is. So this is actually the beauty of Srimad Bhagavatam. Anything that we want it's in Bhagavatam. People like fighting. Okay, there cannot be anything better fighting than this, or so many fights. We'll read further and before also. So many fights. If people like romance, Krishna and Radharani and the gopis and other romantic situations have been explained. Nothing better than what is explained here. People like politics, so much of politics is there. And drama, emotions, everything is there in Srimad Bhagavatam. We don't need to watch any movies. Everything is here. Nasanna vahaya vishanna chetase prayam tu bhuya sagadam mahatma indro amritasya Dikarabhimarsha Vitavyathat Kshat Vaho Avatasthe. When he saw Indra's carrier elephant, thus fatigued and injured, and when he saw Indra morose because his carrier had been harmed in that way, the great soul Vritrasura, following religious principles, refrained from again striking Indra with the club. Taking this opportunity, Indra touched the elephant with his nectar-producing hand, thus relieving the animal's pain and curing its injuries. Then the elephant and Indra both stood silently. And he was so insulted, he pretty much lost. Satam Nripendra Vakamyaya Ripum Vajrayudham Bhratri Hanam Vilokya Smaranscha Tatkarma Narishan Sammaha Shokena Mohena Hasad Jagad. O king, when the great hero Vritrasura saw Indra, his enemy, the killer of his brother, standing before him with a thunderbolt in his hand, desiring to fight, Vritrasura remembered how Indra had cruelly killed his brother Vishwarupa. Thinking of Indra's sinful activities, he became mad with lamentation and forgetfulness. Laughing sarcastically, he spoke as follows. Shri Vritruvacha, and look at that word, Shukdev Goswami is saying. He did not say Vritrasura Vacha, he's saying Shri Vritruvacha. He's giving him proper respect because the instruction that Vritrasura gives, they are befitting a devotee, not an asura. Dishtya bhavan me samavasthito ripur yo brahma guruha bhratriha cha dishtya nrano adya asatam tvaya machula nirbhinna drishta dhrida chirata. Shri Vritrasura said, he who has killed a Brahman, he who has killed his spiritual master, indeed he who has killed my brother, is now by good fortune standing before me face to face as my enemy. O most abominable one, when I pierce your stone-like heart with my trident, I shall be freed from my debt to my brother. So Indra had killed Brahman, Vishwarupa, and his spiritual master. Again, Vishwarupa, who gave him Narayan Kavach, who performed sacrifice for him. And he was a brother of Vritrasura. And Vritrasura is saying, when I pierce your stone-like heart with my trident, I shall be freed from my debt. You know agra jasyatma vidod vijater gurora papasya cha jikshitasya vishrabhya khagena shiransya vrishchata pashoreva karuna swarga kamaha. Only for the sake of living in the heavenly planets, you killed my elder brother, a self-realized, sinless, qualified Brahman who had been appointed your chief priest. He was your spiritual master, but although you entrusted him with the performance of your sacrifice, you later mercilessly severed his heads from his body the way one butchers an animal. And for what? For the sake of living in the heavenly planets and enjoying the heavenly opulence, you killed my brother Brahman, your spiritual master. Just imagine the position of Indra right now. Shri hi deya kirtir abhirujjitamvam sakarmana purushadescha garyam kricharena machula vibhinna deham asprishta vahanim samadanti gridraha. Indra, you are bereft of all shame, mercy, glory, and good fortune. Deprived of these good qualities by the reactions of your fruitive activities, you are to be condemned even by the man-eaters, Rakshasas. Now I shall pierce your body with my trident, and after you die with great pain, even fire will not touch you. Only the vultures will eat your body. Anya anutiyatvehe nishansamagya yad udyatasra praharanti mayam tarabhutanathan saganana nishata Trishula nirbhin galara yajami. You are naturally cruel. If the other demigods, unaware of my prowess, follow you, by attacking me with raised weapons, I shall sever their heads with the sharp trident. With those heads, I shall perform a sacrifice to Bhairav and the other leaders of the ghosts, along with their hordes. Atho hare me kulishena vira, harta paramatyeva shiro yadiha, tatra nrino bhuta balim vidhaya, manasvinam padarajah prapatsya. But, but, if in this battle you cut off my head with your thunderbolt and kill my soldiers, O Indra, O great hero, I shall take great pleasure in offering my body to the other living entities, such as jackals and vultures. I shall thus be relieved of my obligations to the reactions of my karma, and my fortune will be to receive the dust from the lotus feet of great devotees like Narad Muni. So Vritrasura was in a position to kill Indra actually, but obviously he didn't want. Look at what he's saying now. But if you sever my head, if you cut off my head with a thunderbolt, then what will happen? My body will be used as a food for jackals and vultures, which is fine. And what I be? I shall be relieved my obligations and the reactions of my karma, and then I shall be able to receive the dust of the lotus feet of great devotees like Narad Muni. So that is the best thing that you can do, kill me. Sri Narottam Das Thakur sings, I am the servant of the 6 Goswamis, and the dust of the lotus feet provides my 5 kinds of food. A Vaishnava always desires the dust of the lotus feet of previous acharyas and Vaishnavas. Vritrasura was certain that he would be killed in the battle with Indra because this was the desire of Lord Vishnu. He was prepared for death because he knew that after his death he was destined to return home back to God. This is a great destination, and it is achieved by the grace of a Vaishnava. Chadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistara Payache Keva. No one has ever gone back to Godhead without being favored by a Vaishnava. In this verse, therefore, we find the words Manasrinan Padaraju Prapatsya. I shall receive the dust of the lotus feet of great devotees. The word Manasvinam refers to great devotees who always think of Krishna. They're always peaceful, thinking of Krishna, and therefore they're called Dhira. The best example of such a devotee is Narad Muni. If one receives the dust of the lotus feet of a Manasvi, a great devotee, he suddenly returns home back to Godhead. And this is what Vritrasura knew, this is what is going to happen. In one way, he's telling Indra, of course, these verses will come later, that you will be here after killing me, and you will be thinking that you will be enjoying this heavenly kingdom, but I'll be in the spiritual world with the devotees like Narad Muni. So who will be more fortunate? Of course, Vritrasura, because he is going back home, back to Godhead. And he knew the desire of Lord Vishnu, because Lord Vishnu has arranged for him to be killed like that. So he had no fear, no pain. And on the other hand, Indra was fearful. So this is an incident where an Asura, Vritrasura, is giving instructions to the king of the demigods, Indradev. Because Vritrasura is a great devotee. Of course, Indra is also a devotee, but Vritrasura is much greater devotee. So anyway, we'll stop here and we'll continue with this discussion tomorrow. See anybody has any comments? Okay, so we'll stop here. You all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri.
Hare Krishna, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.